Ancient theories about the dome claim that it was not an inert structure, but a living membrane, a boundary that fulfilled functions comparable in some way to those of a cell membrane. Just as cells define their internal environment and regulate exchanges with the outside, the dome worlds act as closed systems of self-regulation, each with its own energetic field, its own climate, and its own vital balance. The structure of the dome was not, according to the records, a solid object, but a layer of condensed energy, a vibrational interface where matter changes state and light obeys a different pattern of refraction. At that boundary, sounds become distorted, colors fade, and the notion of direction loses meaning. The ancient sages saw in the dome the macro manifestation of a universal biological principle. Every living thing needs a membrane separating its interior from the exterior, a surface that maintains homeostasis and preserves life from influences foreign to its frequency, and vice versa. The stability of each dome depends on the balance of its membrane, which acts as a filter of energy and information, allowing only those vibrations compatible with the internal system. The membrane of the dome serves two main functions: to protect and to regulate, though after the rise of the Custodians, it also acquired a third function: to project. Texts found in the Great Ancestral Library reveal that this original structure was intervened many times, especially after the Great Reset of 1728. The Custodians discovered that the dome's membrane could, in some way, shape the human mind. They understood that the electromagnetic waves running across the dome's upper layer could be tuned to emit specific frequencies that affected human neural impulses. Experiments began in secret, connecting the base of the dome with the ice walls through a crystalline conduction network. Naturally, it was then that they began projecting what we call the sky. We shall try to explain this report without revealing everything it exposes. Let us assume that those dividing walls, composed of ice with piezoelectric properties, began to behave like gigantic natural transmitters. When the wind and magnetic currents collided against them, they released harmonic pulses that spread throughout the dome's atmosphere. At first, those emissions served to maintain environmental balance and the world's natural resonance. But soon the Custodians altered them. By manipulating the emission frequency, they discovered they could influence collective emotions, increase anxiety, and above all, induce a sense of spiritual helplessness. Thus was born what would later be called the custodial mental noise. It was not an audible sound, but a vibrational interference acting on the psychic plane. It overlapped the original frequency of the human soul, the one that, in ancient times, allowed connection with the celestial lands, diverting it into an artificial channel. This deviation acted as a spiritual VPN, a parallel network through which every communication between the soul and the source passed through filters designed to dilute truth. The waves emanating from the walls and the dome formed a lattice that passed through the human mind without it realizing. Free thought became induced thought, and intuition became suspect. The Custodians had achieved what no physical force ever could: to block the inner ascent through constant distraction. Every thought directed toward transcendence was intercepted, wrapped in an echo of doubt, and return to the individual as anxiety or fear. Humanity thus was disconnected from the silence where the real connection with the source resides. The few sages who understood this mechanism tried to reverse it, seeking to resonate with the natural frequency of the dome before its manipulation. They discovered that, in certain places and under specific vibrational conditions, the dome responded with a pure pulse, a single note capable of temporarily disabling the interference. During those moments, some claim to have felt unity with all existence, a sensation of total remembrance. However, the custodians reinforced the emissions, sealing the walls once more and expanding the range of mental noise. Since then, the dome has functioned as a membrane that regulates life, but at the same time as a sensory prison that keeps humanity revolving around its own thoughts. The projection of the sky, the lights of the stars, and the illusion of celestial movement are nothing more than the visual reflection of that interference field that sustains the disconnection. As long as man continues to search outward for the exit, the dome will remain a boundary. Only when he learns to silence the imposed noise and listen to his inner frequency will the membrane cease to be a barrier and become once again what it was in the beginning, a bridge to the celestial lands.